Hello everyone and welcome to the very last episode of the Cronkite File Season 1. My name is Colette Stein and like always, I will be your host today. But don't get too comfortable. We're switching things up today. This episode, being our last this season, for lack of a better word, is a joke. All right, let's get started. We're starting off the season a bit chilly. As unnecessary as it is, here's Ethan Kennedy reporting live from the pole. The South Pole, that is.
Hope you guys are nice and warm in the downtown Phoenix studio, because down here in the South Pole, I can't exactly feel my toes. I don't know who exactly thought we needed a weather report from down here, but I'm here anyway. The weather is looking unbearably cold for the foreseeable future. Today we have a high of -56 and a low of -58. Temps take a dip on Wednesday with a high of -62 and a low of -66. By the weekend, we should be able to strip off that third scarf with temps of -43 to -51. But by midweek next week, it should take a dip back down to the negative high 60s. This has been your unnecessary weather report, South Pole edition. My name is Ethan Kennedy. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Ethan, but don't forget to wear your sunscreen. Here I am at the desk for the first time this season. It's nice and comfy up here, ladies. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, but it is a little bit shady up here at the desk.
I'm Rachel Cord.
And I'm Carly Doyle, and this is
The Shade Report.
All right, ladies, let's get right to throwing shade. And who better to throw shade at than the infamous Kardashians? So what do you guys got for us today as far as this big family web of craziness going on? I mean, it's almost incesty when you really look into it.
Yeah, it's almost like that group in high school where they all kind of like hang out, and then throughout high school they all kind of date each other. And then with Kylie's newest Snapchat thing, she's like, oh, we've been best friends the whole time. And it's like, it's kind of that group of friends where they like hang out and they all date each other and they all are like, but I love them and we're best friends. And everyone's just like, what is going on?
No, exactly.
Like,
could you actually explain that further? So what exactly was the Snapchat and who was in it?
So basically, Kylie Jenner was MIA. She had not said anything about her brother Rob's engagement to Blac Chyna. And then all of a sudden, they both came out on their Snapchats. Kylie said something like, when you've been best friends the whole time. And then Blac Chyna said something along the lines of, love hanging out with my little sis. And it was very, the whole internet was like, what the heck? Do you want to add to that, Rachel?
I mean, I just think that it's crazy that Kylie and Tyga are dating, and Tyga has a baby with Blac Chyna, and now Blac Chyna's engaged to Rob Kardashian. So basically, if Kylie and Tyga hypothetically were to get married, then Tyga would become the uncle to his son. So I kind of think that's pretty, I don't know, crazy.
And not to mention, Rob Kardashian will be the stepdad. And I think people aren't really necessarily grasping that. Because that also means, depending, I don't know what they're going to do in that situation. What are they going to do with Tyga and Blac Chyna's son, King? What last name is he going to have?
Yeah.
Everything like that.
To add to that, I think that Rob is doing a really poor job, like being on the same page with his family, being understanding of them. And then also, sorry, I just lost my train of thought really quick. His sister might be the stepchild to Blac Chyna and Tyga's son. She's 18 years old. And like, you don't have a problem with like an 18-year-old perhaps being the stepmother to your own kid? It's very
Strange.
weird, and they're acting like it's not.
And to add to that, isn't it weird to be, I'm not really sure how old Tyga is. Do you have any idea? Oh, he's around
like
25.
26,
around 25.
26.
And he's dating, at the time, he was dating a 17-year-old. I do believe that he wasn't admitting to the fact that he was dating. He really was.
They were totally
But
dating.
at the same time, wouldn't Blac Chyna feel super uncomfortable? Because I know I would as a woman. I mean, I have a baby with you, and now you're dating a 17-year-old. I mean,
That's so true.
If we had him at the right time, we could have a 17-year-old.
Kris Jenner is amazing at PR, but I don't know how she's going to fix this. This isn't even my biggest problem with that family, to be honest.
No, very, very true. So let's move our attention to Caitlyn Jenner. What are your guys' thoughts on her?
I have so many issues with Caitlyn Jenner. First of all, being that the accident happened last year before her transition, where she rear-ended someone, pushed them into oncoming traffic. It was an accident, but someone did pass away. Someone died. And no one remembered that happened. And I have an issue with that, with all the praise that she's getting. And it's amazing what she's doing, but she has her problems that everyone likes to forget about. And I'm not cool with that.
What are your thoughts, Rachel?
Okay, I think that she is just craving attention, and she's been craving attention ever since Kim Kardashian became famous, because if you think about it, Bruce Jenner was the most famous person in that family for the longest time, and he was used to being the most famous person. Then all of a sudden, all these girls in his family became more important than him. And so what does he think? Oh, all these girls are being more important than me. Let me turn into a girl, and I will be literally the most important person on the planet. Like, I just think that's what happened.
Yeah, not to like say being transgender is like an option or whatever.
No.
But I think that there's something to be said for the fact that not only did he transition, he did it super publicly, which, I mean, you're a celebrity, you want to get the word out there, but now you started your own show, my own separate show from my whole family. It just seems a little disingenuous, a lot of things he's doing.
That's what I was actually going to say about being disingenuous. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this whole transition was a conspiracy, like they planned this, or do you think this is actually real?
I can't speak for the whole transgender community.
I don't think it was a conspiracy, but I just think that if he really wanted to be like transgender, and I think that he does, because I don't think he could just do that just to do it for fame. But at the same time, the way that it happened and the way that it came about was a lot to do with attention, and that's what he wanted.
I think it's shady, and also I think he burned Kris Jenner, and I have issues with that.
Yes.
Like she's the mother of your kids. And I don't think he did well by her at all.
No,
well,
not
very true.
Now Caitlyn.
Speaking of attention, someone that's getting a lot of attention recently is the one and only Beyonce. So I know there's a lot of controversy about her, it's Lemonade, right?
Yes.
Lemonade that came out, and something about Jay-Z cheating on her. Could you guys kind of help me out with that?
Okay, so 2 years ago, a lot of stuff happened. Solange just like beat up Jay-Z in an elevator. Everyone was like, what? Now it's there were rumors for a while, but now it's kind of explained that Jay-Z did cheat on Beyonce. And this whole process has been about healing for her. And I just want to say that I called this, as soon as she announced that HBO special, I'm like, she's dropping Lemonade, it is a visual album. I had no idea that that's what it was about. And it was it's really surprising. And I'm happy for her, but the way everyone's going about this Becky thing is really messed up, and that needs to end. What do you think, Rachel?
I mean, my problem with the entire situation is that I was reading an article today on E! News, and it said that, you know, Jay-Z knew every single song that was going to come out on this album. He knew every single lyric about it and everything, and it said, he's a smart businessman. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, he's a smart businessman. He is making money off the fact that he cheated on his wife. That's what he's doing.
I didn't.
So there you have it. Caitlyn Jenner is making money off the fact that she is transgender. He's making off the fact that he cheated on his wife.
Yeah, ultimate shade.
Yes, ultimate shade.
Gotta hang out with us more.
Of course. I'm here if you need me. But overall, I guess you could say if you're a celebrity, you know, wins and losses, they'll all make you money. So, hey, what are you going to do about it?
Definitely a shady time in Hollywood.
Exactly. Better put your sunglasses on, ladies, because we're about to move on to the next segment. So moving on to something that all of you sports fans will be interested in. We aren't the only ones throwing shade today. Here's Anthony Luna and Chancellor Johnson with a non-traditional side of sports.
With his retirement in full effect, Kobe Bryant is now out of the game of basketball and is looking to find new ways to cope at home. According to a trusted source, his beloved family is becoming increasingly annoyed with the situation, stating he, quote, shoots everything he can around the house. The worst part of it all is that he always yells his own name and misses, end quote. Kobe couldn't be reached for a comment, but he was seen shooting his trash into the garbage can in front of his house this morning. And as it is well known, Houston is being threatened by a flurry of floods, damaging thousands of dollars of property, but star center Dwight Howard says the weather makes him feel unhappy, which has prompted another request for him to be let go from the team once the season finishes. James Harden did all he could to defend the city from the flood, but we all know how the Rockets play defense. And lastly, the Cleveland Browns have announced their retirement from football. The team said, quote, we see no future and neither do our fans. We had a movie made about us and own the worst color scheme possible. We tried submitting a move to Mexico, but they said it would be better to have a Taco Bell in place with the new stadium rather than our own team, end quote. But that's the last of the headlines circulating this week. Until next time, I'm Anthony Luna. And what do you have for us today, Chance?
Thanks, Anthony. Arguably the greatest defensive boxer of all time, Floyd Mayweather is now retired and apparently has found a new passion, reading to the kids. Floyd surprised a local middle school and showed up to read to the kids. Unfortunately, he read at a middle school level. Here's the audio, courtesy of The Breakfast Club.
I'm Floyd Mayweather, and I've joined Heart Radio for the show, Your Stripes movement to support hiring vets. I'm Floyd Mayweather, and I've joined Heart Radio for the show, Your Stripes movement to support. I'm Floyd Mayweather.
James Harden is no doubt one of the greatest offensive scorers in the league, but has received a lot of criticism for his defense. I guess the bitter one has heard all the chatter and is deciding to fight back. In a recent interview, he told all of his critics to respect his name. All three of y'all. When my name come up, respect, know what I'm saying? James then proceeds to close the interview with, "Are y'all done or are y'all finished?" That's all from me. Back to you, Colette.
Thanks, boys. And Chance, I'm pretty sure that wasn't James Harden saying that. It was someone with a little less hair and a little bit more attitude. Having that said, don't disrespect Birdman's name. Speaking of attitude and interesting hairstyles, today we are honored to welcome Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders to the studio for a debate. Moderating today is our very own Lillian Donahue, and try to keep it civil today, guys. Thank you all for joining us for the very first Cronkite File presidential debate. Representing the Democratic Party, we have Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and for the Republican Party, we have Donald Trump. Thank you both for joining us. So the debate guidelines are very simple. I will ask each of you individual questions as well as one general question. Each of you has 20 seconds to respond, and now you have 15 seconds to introduce yourselves to America. We'll start with you, Mr. Trump.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you, America, for letting me speak to you today. I come humbly to this show. We all know that I self-fund my campaign to show that no supporter has bought me. And I think it's time America realizes that I am truly the best candidate out there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Well, Lillian, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak to the little people. I find it really important that we represent everyone in this great nation of ours. We need to make sure that campaign finance laws are reformed so that way Wall Street and the big banks can't dictate who runs our country and how. I have only accepted individual contributions from my supporters.
Now, Mr. Sanders, you adamantly support certain democratic socialism ideas that work in countries like Denmark. However, the United States is roughly 53 times larger than that. How would wealth distribution and your ideas of democratic socialism work for a country that is so much larger than that?
Well, this is a very simple problem to solve. You see, Denmark is a very successful country because they don't have a Wall Street. They also don't have big banks. We may have a larger population, but my economic plan will be one that eliminates Wall Street influence on the federal budget. That way, big banks cannot chokehold Americans into a limited economy. My ideals are not socialist, they are democratically socialist. There's an extra word, democratic, which makes it American. People can vote on socialist ideals instead of them being forced upon them. And I don't understand why people get all fired up about that.
Thank you. Mr. Trump, you have been very vocal on issues concerning immigration reform, including a wall and also deporting about 11 million undocumented migrants in this country. How would this action be more beneficial than something that's a little bit less aggressive?
America needs a firm hand to push out the immigrants of our great country. I'll be your firm hand, America. I'll build your wall, and I'll keep people stealing our precious jobs out. Those of you who think this is an aggressive act, it's not. It's a necessary act to ensure the safety of America. We will find a way to push every one of them out of our great country. Let's make America great again.
This is an open-ended question for the both of you. The U.S. national debt has increased by more than $7 trillion in the past 8 years. What is your approach to lowering that debt and preventing it from rising so strikingly in the future?
This is a very simple question to answer. We need to stop the big banks and end Wall Street influence on American democracy. You see, Lillian?
No. You liberals and your banks, we need to increase jobs to regain our precious economy. Creating jobs is easy, and as president, I will make it a point to create millions of jobs. You liberals need to lay off and let the big boys go to work.
See, Mr. Trump, you need to stop interrupting those who are speaking in the first place.
You can't go anywhere. You're like 70.
I was speaking,
How can you build
Mr.
anything?
Trump. No,
You have
see,
no
I was
backing.
speaking, Mr.
There's no
Trump.
way you can
I
get
need to speak
anywhere.
because it was my
You
time
can't
to
go.
speak.
You're
Yes, it
ancient.
was.
You're a
It was
mural.
mine. No,
You're done.
it was mine.
You're
I am a
fired.
New Yorker. I am from Brooklyn. I will get up here and fight you on the stage right now.
There's no need for that.
I am a New Yorker just like you, and I will get on the stage and fight you right
Thank you so much for
now.
joining us for the very first presidential debate. Back to you, Colette. Thanks, Lillian, and thank you, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. It was an honor. Well, everyone, that is all the time we have today. It is very bittersweet to say, but this episode will wrap up the first season of the Cronkite File. Thank you all that have tuned in throughout this season. Don't worry, we will be back next semester, bigger and better. Before we leave, I would like to give a special thank you to Matthew O'Donnell for making the show possible, Mary Cook for being an awesome sponsor, and of course, the entire Cronkite File staff for doing an amazing job this season. Once again, my name is Colette Stein, and this has been the Cronkite File.